Hi, we're going to talk about the evolution theory of Charles Darwin.
Darwin was born in England on February 12, 1809. He is best known for his work as a naturalist, developing a theory of evolution to explain biological change.
In his expedition, he visited many places and studied plants and animals, collecting specimens for further analysis. In South America, Darwin found fossils of extinct animals that were similar to modern species. Furthermore, on the Galapagos Islands, he noticed many variations of plants and animals that were similar to those he found in South America, suggesting the species adapted over time and to their environment.
Galapagos tortoises have two different shapes. For example, the saddleback tortoises have shells that rise in front, like a saddle. This adaptation makes it easier for them to lift their heads high to eat tree cactus and resolve disputes over limited food resources. The dome-shaped tortoises live in islands where there is abundance of vegetation close to the ground, making it less necessary for the animals to raise their heads to feed.
Darwin ultimately generalized observation from the finches that any population consists of individuals that are slightly different from one another. Furthermore, individual organisms having a phenotype characteristic provided an advantage in staying alive to successfully reproduce will pass their phenotype traits more frequently for the next generation.
Alfred Russel Wallace, another British naturalist, was a co-discoverer of the theory, so Darwin has gotten most of the credit. Wallace died 100 years ago this year. Wallace developed some of his important ideas about natural selection during an 8-year expedition to what was then the Dutch East Indies, modern-day Indonesia, to observe wildlife and collect specimens.
The theory of evolution by natural selection is the process by which organisms change over time as a result of changes in heritable physical or behavioral traits. Changes that allow an organism to better adapt to its environment will help it survive and have more offspring.
Darwin wrote a book called The Origin of Species.
This book postulates that living forms are not static, but they evolve. Species change continuously. Some will originate and others will extinguish. Other thing is that evolutionary process is gradual, slow and continuous, without sudden changes or discontinuous breaks.
Similar organisms are related and come from a common ancestor. All living organisms can be tracked back to a unique origin of life. Another point is that natural selection is key, in two phases that explain the whole system. The first phase in variability, the appearance of spontaneous modification in individuals. The second phase, selecting through survival in the struggle for life. The fittest individuals, the ones that were born with favorable spontaneous modification to cope with the environment, will have a better chance of survival, reproducing and creating offspring with those advantages.